ANC Alliance partners, the South African Communist Party and COSATU, have called on the governing party to stick to the step-aside resolution. The alliance partners are not happy with the current manner on how the alliance operates, with the ANC taking major decisions alone. COSATU President Zingiswa Losi has called on the governing party not to ditch workers who are faced with an onslaught in the public and private sectors.
ANC Alliance partners say the workings of the tripartite alliance are outdated and not a true reflection of the changing political environment on the ground. COSATU and the SACP want to be consulted on the upcoming cabinet reshuffle, as opposed to the President Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC making the decisions alone.
This process of the renewal will be incomplete without the reconfiguration of the alliance. Because the reconfiguration of the alliance itself, without it, the prosecution of the National Democratic Revolution will be weakened. And for this reason, we want you to unite yourself first and have the moral authority and ability to unite all revolutionary forces and our people.
COSATU says the ANC must not move away from cleansing itself from corrupt leaders whom have been convicted. Zingiswa Losi, the president of COSATU, unflinchingly cautioned the ANC that workers have been neglected.
Workers are tired of the factionalism and corruption that is dividing the movement and that many leaders are guilty of. President and the entire ANC leadership, workers were very clear in 2021 during the local elections. They have put the entire movement on notice. Workers are saying to the ANC today, dismantle the factions, remove incompetent deployees, unite the African National Congress and rebuild its structures. President, we are deeply worried that whilst workers support the step-aside resolution, it appears that we are backtracking on this. We cannot compromise on matters of principle and that of the rule of law. Those who have been charged and convicted for criminal offenses must step aside. We cannot have leaders with criminal convictions and expect society to take the ANC serious.
President Cyril Ramaphosa in the next coming weeks will be reshuffling the executive, and the alliance wants to have a say on which ministers should be chopped and who should stay. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
Well, to talk a little bit more about this, we're now joined by Dr. Alex Mashilo, who's the SACP's national spokesperson. Thanks so much for joining us. Always good to talk to you. Your reflections on the January 8th statement today?
Thank you, Peter, and greetings to the viewers at home and on the internet. The January 8th statement identified 6 priority areas under which there are multiple tasks. The first being a renewal, which is wider than the ANC itself, as the SACP General Secretary Solima Baila has said, and as the President himself has said. The second one is to urgently overcome the energy crisis, stop load shedding, which will then boost the third priority, which is economic development and transformation, under which the President referred to investment and employment creation. The third priority is improving service delivery, while the fourth one is that of fighting crime and corruption. And then we go to strengthening governance and equally importantly, building a better Africa and the world. But these priorities and the tasks identified are not going to be easy to carry out, because we are not in the space where there is no resistance. There is resistance, and it is going to be quite difficult. And to the extent that the President was speaking from the point of view of the ANC, national policy conference outcomes, there still needs to be engagements within the alliance to agree on a common alliance approach insofar as the priorities are concerned, because there could be differences when coming to the detail.
Let's talk about the alliance's input. The January 8 statement itself, I mean, it is an ANC document, but as a key alliance partner, do you have any input at all in some of the thoughts that go in there?
No, this time around, you would have noticed that there are certain issues that the SACP and Cosatu have been campaigning around. And I will give an example. One of the elaborated in the January 8th statement, having gone through the ANC 55th National Conference. You will recall that the SACP has been campaigning for the government to not terminate the social relief of distress grant, but instead maintain and improve it as a foundation towards a universal basic income grant. Since this grant was introduced, the Treasury, under pressure from the SACP and other public organizations, COSATU included, and progressive sections within the ANC itself, including outside the ANC, the NGOs and civil society organizations. The National Treasury has been extending this grant almost every October and every February during the medium-term budget expenditure framework and the main budget respectively. What the president said, which is an outcome of this consultative process, is that the social relief of distress grant will now remain, and meaning that it is going to continue until there is, he used the word basic income grant, while COSATU and the SACP are using the term universal basic income grant. Insofar as that is concerned, there is definitely progress, there is an advance. In other words, we will not hear next month in February the National Treasury talking about terminating the social relief of distress grant at the end of March 2024, because the mandate is now quite very clear: maintain this grant until there is a basic income grant. And for the SACP and COSATU, that basic income grant has to be universal. There will be engagements on the universality of that basic income grant. As the president has said, we have agreed to hold an Alliance Economic and Energy Summit. I believe at that summit there will be further engagement and we will find one another on the universality of that grant. We welcome that particular statement. The president, in outlining the renewal and unity of the ANC, also referred to the important issue of the reconfiguration of the alliance. We have been campaigning on that score, and we are quite very clear that the renewal and unity of the ANC will be incomplete without the renewal and reconfiguration of the alliance to move with the times. So we need to find one another there, and we are quite clear. What comes out from your report is that COSATU and the SACP want to have a say on matters such as cabinet reshuffle. The fact of the matter is that we have been having a say. There has always been consultation, but what has happened recently, it might be an outcome of a transition from the ANC conference. When you hear the discussion on the cabinet reshuffle, and leaders of the ANC speak about it, they limit it to consultation with the ANC at the level of the ANC official. It does not go beyond that to include the alliance. And this is not consultation only on the makeup of the cabinet. It is consultation, most importantly, on policy content and direction, because the people who are in the cabinet have to be guided by an agreed upon mandate, which is made up of policy content and direction.
All right, so the COSATU leader, Zingiswa Losi, was talking about putting the ANC on notice. They were worried about worker issues, and she talked about factions. Have these factions affected your relationship as a tripartite alliance in any way?
Yes, definitely. To say no will be dishonest. The factions have affected the relationships in the alliance quite greatly, and that's why we are worried about them. When factionalism takes its toll, when it is at its zenith, the relationship in the alliance suffers. And we can give many examples about that. The ANC is aware.
Dr. Mashilo, are you still there? We lost you for
yes,
a couple of seconds. So if I could ask you just to backtrack a little bit and explain the concerns you've had in the Tripartite Alliance.
Yes, your question was whether factionalism does affect the alliance relations and functioning. Yes, of course. To say no will be dishonest. Factionalism.
All right, it looks like we've lost Dr. Mashilo there, but I think he's given us an indication that the factionalism within the party that's a concern for COSATU is also a concern for the SACP, and that a new configuration of that tripartite alliance is key in their relationship going forward, and we'll be keeping tabs on that. All right.